God is saying to us that I've known you before you were born. I've given you everything you need. So why you keep coming to me and asking me for the same exact things, or why are you just even asking?
So even when I'm in those bad spots and it sucks and it hurts and it's painful and I ask why me, which is a normal thing, I realize that as I'm doing that, I also should be grateful for what I got.
Many times people go to the gym and exercise their legs and exercise their arms and exercise their chest, but they fail to remember to exercise their faith. But the comfort zone is lying to you because you believe that everything is okay. I have this great job, but step out on faith. Step out on faith and believe in your dreams.
Hey, welcome to the Social 333 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bentley. Today, my guest is Darryl Bumpass Sr. Darryl, how are you?
I'm above ground. I'm winning, Chris.
Awesome. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
You know me, Darryl Bumpass, best-selling author, certified life coach, self-empowerment speaker. I help people remember who they are. Listen, this is an important season. This is the season that you understand that the power of God is within you. In this season, it is time for you to activate that season.
Talk to me a little bit about your book. I see you got it propped up there, and this is my copy.
Yes.
But tell me a little bit about the book and what's going on and a couple of your speaking engagements.
So the book is based on exercising your faith muscle. Exercising your faith muscle. Too often, people have turned prayer into a monologue instead of a dialogue. And we are going back and asking for the same thing over and over again. So for instance, if I say, well, Chris, can you pass me that paper, right? And you're sliding me the paper, but I continue to ask you, Chris, can you pass me that paper? So it's like we're going asking over and over again. And Chris, you're saying to me, Darryl, I'm sending it to you. I gave it to you already. It's right there. And it's like God is saying to us that I've known you before you were born. I've given you everything you need. So why you keep coming to me and asking me for the same exact things, or why are you just even asking? We have the power to speak what we want into existence. As they say, we have the power of the tongue to speak life and death. So what else are we speaking? What else are we speaking? We need to start manifesting instead of going to God over and over and over again. Activate the power, fan the flames, activate the power, and manifest the things that you want in life.
I find a lot of people, and I was guilty of this for a long time, I find a lot of people don't search within. And all the answers are within. I'm big into spirituality as well as Christianity. And all the answers are within. However, you can ask for help. Mm-hmm. And there's no problem in asking for some help, whether that be all the time or once when you're like, hey, look, when you have those moments, you're like, and you get on your knees and you say, hey, look, like, I know you're out there. I know you can hear me, and I know you put me in the spot, but you got to help me out.
That's surrender.
Right. I've been there a couple different times, and I think a lot of times that, from my experience, and I'm not any part of the religious community at all, but from what I've experienced is people just really don't understand to pray, understand what they're praying for, or how they're praying, or they come to God when, it's pouring and it's lightning out and they're getting soaked, and like they tried it all and now they're just, giving up and, like you said, surrender. And in my opinion, I think the surrendering part is good, but at the same time, I think you have to, well, I guess that's two parts. I guess the first part is just knowing that you have the answer. It's inside you. If you're quiet, you'll hear it. And that's why a lot of people fast for long periods of time.
Right.
And then the other thing is that a lot of people forget gratitude. So even when I'm in those bad spots and it sucks and it hurts and it's painful and I ask why me, which is a normal thing, I realize that as I'm doing that, I also should be grateful for what I got.
Right.
Even though you're going through a really tough spot and you really don't want to be grateful, you need to stop and look at how grateful and how much you have in abundance versus going through a tough time. And I'm actually really thankful that I do go through those tough times, because I know that there's always something on the other side of that tough time that I need to learn, even though it's horrible, right? But you need to learn that.
Right.
So when you go do speaking events, what is it that you see a lot of? Like, do you see a lot of people just without faith, or people that are practicing faith that just are going with the flow because everybody else goes to church kind of deal? Or, tell me what kind of you see.
Well, it's both. It's both. You see people with faith and people are without faith. And the thing is that you can have faith. So many times people go to the gym and exercise their legs and exercise their arms and exercise their chest, but they fail to remember to exercise their faith, to exercise your faith. And the easy way of seeing that, how to exercise your faith, is remembrance. Remembrance, and like you said, being grateful. Listen, I woke up this morning. I'm grateful.
Not in a hospital.
Not in a hospital, with all my limbs working. I'm grateful for that. I'm breathing. God has breathed my breath of life, his breath of life into my nostrils. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be here and be able to speak to you and speak to Devin. I'm grateful. This is how you exercise your faith, remembering. Just remembering yesterday, being able to fly here into this beautiful state of Texas and land safe. I'm grateful. This is faith. Faith is saying I'm going to get on the plane and knowing that I'm going to land.
Right.
That's exercising faith.
Right.
But you can do it in big ways. You can do it in small ways. But a lot of times we fail to exercise faith because we're in this comfort zone, and the comfort zone most of the time is lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
Step out of the comfort zone and see what faith does for you. But the comfort zone is lying to you because you believe that everything is okay. I have this great job. But step out on faith. Step out on faith and believe in your dreams.
I want to get into this, and then we'll get into your entrepreneurial journey, because I really want to learn about that. I was talking off air about Tony Robbins, and one of the things that he talks a lot about is the Wizard of Oz. And you go through these periods and these cycles where, if you're familiar with the movie, and I haven't watched it in a long time, so don't misquote me, right? But, like Dorothy's doing fine, and then she loses the dog,
Right.
and then she goes down the rabbit hole. Or no, sorry, there was a tornado, and then she stayed in the house, and then, no matter what, that tornado was coming for her,
Right.
and then she, went wherever, and then she ended up with Wonderland, and
Right.
then she had to meet some new friends, and then she had the Battle of the Witch, and then she won the battle, and then she's back home.
Right.
And everybody thinks kind of like the story ends there. You're like, whew, like that
Right.
was awful. Now I can enjoy the rest of my, 60 or 80 years or whatever it is on Earth. But it's not really the truth. Like,
Right.
you're going to have another adventure coming, whether you like it or not.
Indeed. Indeed.
And that's what really shocked me when he told me that, because I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense, because I don't know about you, and I'm sure it's the same way, but we've been through, just in our age generally, we've been through a lot.
Yes.
Right. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool. Well, whew, I'm done with that. Like, now let me just like sit in my house and not do anything, and like I'll be okay. And
Right.
like,
I made it.
And then before you know it, it's like, hey, like, we're ready for our next journey, our next adventure. And I'm like, oh man, I just got done with that
Right.
adventure. Right.
Right.
Talk to me about your entrepreneurial journey, because I think we have some stuff to share.
Before I get started, Chris, I just wanted to say, again, I appreciate you for having me on your platform. I appreciate you for inviting me to this big, beautiful state of Texas. But I do have a question for you. I'm going to kind of turn the table. So,
Okay, I'm ready.
What made you decide, because I've been so intrigued since you invited me to the show, what made you land with the number 333?
And then I came up with the number just because it's been good luck. And then, you can look up angel numbers and all
Right.
kinds of stuff.
Well, great answer. I mean, the significance of 333, and it blew my mind, because when I got off the plane and I opened up my phone, I was sharing with you and Devin, and I opened up my phone for the Uber, that's what appeared on the phone, 333. So to me, it speaks to alignment, right? The meaning behind 333 is the divine presence is supporting you. So I share that with you and saying that there is a divine presence that is supporting all of us in this room. And then to come to the building, which is an amazing building, and see at the front of the building 1111.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I almost fell out of the car, the vehicle. So I'm saying that to say that you are. I appreciate you on your assignment and being on your purpose and stepping into your purpose and stepping into your assignment.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do. We were talking off air, and a lot of people that come on the show, well, not a lot of people, but some of the people that have been on the show talk to me about that, just how I'm helping and I'm on a path, and, and I talk to you about like just giving back to the community, which I think this is a great platform for. I don't know. It's just, Tony Robbins talked about it before on something else, and he was like, like we all have a soul contract. I signed a contract.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make the best of it.
Well, I thank you. I call it a soul agreement. And I thank you and Devin. People, I keep mentioning Devin so they don't know he's behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's doing the cameras.
I appreciate you doing a great job also. But I appreciate you and Devin for honoring our soul agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may not be aware what these agreements are, but I'll explain it briefly, that you have an agreement prior to coming into this human experience. And once you enter this human experience, the agreement is that we are going to be there to support one another in this human experience. So I appreciate you guys for honoring our soul agreement.
Absolutely. I appreciate you being on the show. Everyone's connected. Tell me about your entrepreneurial journey, because I'm really interested in it, and I wanted to ask you one really good question.
Okay. So my journey started while I was at my day job, and I just felt like I wasn't being fulfilled anymore, and I needed to stretch. So what I end up doing is creating a 10-year exit strategy prior to leaving my job. And at the age of 42, I created the exit strategy. And by the grace of God, I was able to retire at the age of 51. So a year earlier than what I anticipated. And that led me into creating a clothing company. And the clothing company was fairly successful, and it allowed me to learn the tools of being an entrepreneur.
So with that, and here's a fun question. I see you wrote it down, but I'm going to ask it a little bit differently.
Okay.
So I see you talked about the waiting season, right?
Okay.
And I think a lot of people go through the waiting season.
Yes.
Right? And they go through this period of Steve Harvey, he has a great video about jump, right? If you Google jump on YouTube. He has a book,
yeah.
Right? And he talks about jumping.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to jump if you want to really succeed in this life. You don't have to. I mean, you can live a normal life and go on a couple vacations and live comfortably.
That's fine.
Which is no shame at all.
Right.
But if you aspire to be somebody, then you have to jump. And he talks about, you're going to jump, and while you're, headed down that cliff, you're going to hit the sides, and you're going to hit those rocks, and it's going to tear your back open, and it's going to, hit you in the head. It's going to do all this other stuff, and you're going to be seeing all these people flying right by you that took the same jump, and you're going to wonder. You start asking yourself, like, how are these folks, flying, and I'm not flying, and then somehow, some way, eventually, this turned into a very religious situation, right? But if you watch this thing, he's into God as well. God puts the air up underneath your wings, and you start soaring.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, they're not afraid to jump, but they're afraid of when that air is going to get up underneath the wings. Because I thought about that kind of stuff too. Like I was on the way down, and I was getting hit in the head, and I was getting my back tore open, and I was doing all kinds of stuff. I didn't, I still don't really care, but I was going down, and I always wondered, like, when is the Creator going to come and blow some air up underneath my wings?
I would tell people, as I discuss with my clients, my coaching clients, that too often people focus on the waiting season. Right. And I read something recently. It says the wind is coming, W-I-N, the wind is coming. Don't worry about the wind, W-H-E-N. Right. So the wind is coming. Stop focusing on going down this rabbit hole on when. And the when is the waiting season. In my book, I believe it's chapter 30, I discuss, it's a chapter called The Weight of the When. The Weight of the When, chapter 30. So we have to understand that the when is preparation. As the title says, the higher the assignment, the deeper the preparation. The when is the preparation. So God is not saying no. He may be saying not yet. And not yet is the preparation. I need to prepare you for what it is that you are asking for. I need to expand you for what it is you are asking for. So most times people may be asking for something that may be bigger than their capacity, that they can actually stand right now. But with that waiting season, you're being prepared. But during that waiting season, I would suggest to anyone to start exercising their faith. Start exercising their faith muscle. Start walking in advance of your results. So most people say, well, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be this way, or act this way when it comes. Act as if. Start walking in advance of your results. So when I was working my day job, I would come in a suit. And someone asked me one time, why are you here? Why are you wearing that here? And I said, because I'm dressing for where I'm heading. So they says, oh, you mean after work? I said, no, my future.
Right.
My future. So I was already walking in advance of my results. I was already preparing. God had me prepared and was preparing me for the season that was coming. So that was the waiting season. The waiting season is preparation.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it really is. And if we can get into that mindset that God is preparing me for what I just asked for, and not this microwave thinking that what I just asked for is going to happen instantly. That's not always the case, especially if you're dreaming big.
Right.
If you're dreaming big, the preparation is big.
Mm-hmm.
The higher the assignment, the deeper the preparation.
You have to learn the skills, and that's what I learned from Alex Ramosi is, like if you're young and you just graduated school, you might not have any skills.
Right.
But then you got to you may be looking at somebody like a Elon or somebody that has $1 billion. Well, you ain't got no skills.
Right.
So how are you going to get from no skills to Elon, right? But the good thing is, you have time, you're young, you can outwork people.
Right.
You can work long hours and not get very much sleep. Now you have mastermind classes, you have YouTube video, you have tons of stuff. It's not like in my generation, right? And now, you can cut that time in a very short amount of time. Back when I was growing up, if we didn't have the internet, obviously we wouldn't be here, but it changed the trajectory of compressing that amount of time if you put the effort in and learn those skills.
Yeah, because we're in a great time where you can work smarter instead of working harder.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a perfect season for that right now.
Yep.
So why not take advantage of the things that are at our disposal? We're being able to learn these new things while you're waiting for whatever it is you're trying to manifest.
Darryl, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, maybe wanted to get you on a speaking gig, or maybe want to ask you some questions about the book, where would they find you?
You can find me at DarrylBumpassSr.com, DarrylBumpassSr.com. You can also find me on all social media platforms, Darryl Bumpass Sr.
Darryl, appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Awesome.